Jesus.
Hey everybody!
Hey, hey, hey.
Hey, y'all look pretty. Look at the pretty ladies. Y'all look good.
Thank you. Thank you. Coming from a handsome fellow.
Shanika got the lashes on.
I'm trying to work my lash business.
They look good.
Bat for me one time. Uh-oh.
I don't know how to really bat. You know, I'm working on them.
Still learning.
All right. Well, welcome to the chat where the conversations are unfiltered, unscripted, and uncut. Sorry about that. Please let us know where you are tuning in from. We would love to know where you are. Just let us know where you are, and we are going to go ahead and jump right in because we have a lot of hot topics to share with you all, and hopefully you all have had an opportunity to check out our posts because they have been going all day, and look up some of the things that we will be discussing tonight. And we really would want to hear what you all have to say about some of our hot topics.
Absolutely. And you know what? Before we get started, because let's talk about the issue that we had last week when people were trying to, I guess, get on the chat so their comments can be seen.
Mm-hmm.
Evidently, you have to go and you have to like the chat's page, right?
Yes.
Okay. So make sure you like the chat's page, and then that'll make you eligible to have your comments put on screen. That's if you want them on screen.
Yes. Right. And while we are talking about that, if you do not want, if you have a question or you want us to discuss a particular topic, please, and you don't want it to be on the screen and you want it to be anonymous, go ahead and send us an email. And the email is thechatcw@gmail.com. thechatcw@gmail.com. All right. So, yes, we have quite a few viewers. We have hello, Dorothy and Leah, or Lee. That's me in the names. Jeanette. Oh, yeah. Dorothy's tuning in from Texas. Jeanette's here from Florida. Let's see. We have LaRon. Hello. We have someone else from Maryland. Hello. Lee, okay, Lee or Leah. I'm sorry, Lord. And then Jeanette. Yes. So yes, thanks everyone for joining us. Hey, Amir. I was just about to say.
Hi, everybody.
He appeared. How you doing, Amir?
I'm doing great. Just had a little bit of technical difficulties there, but it's all set up. Happy to see everybody.
Yes, glad you made it.
Awesome.
So yes, if you would at this point, again, so if you want your comments to show up, please go over and like the chat, okay? Go like the chat if you want your comments to show up, because we are not, sometimes we are able to follow and see who's chatting outside of what's up here, but not all the time can we see those messages. So we definitely want to make sure that we can read your messages and see your messages. So go over to the chat, like the chat, so we can see you, your comments.
Yeah. Anybody have anything exciting happened so far this week? I know it's only Tuesday, but over the weekend since we talked last, anybody doing what?
Well, I have been really deeply involved in this initiative here in Hampton Roads called Keep VA Warm. So, as a city of the Norfolk City member of the City of Norfolk City Council Commission on Long-Term Care and Aging, I also am now the chair of Keep Virginia Warm Norfolk chapter. So we've been doing a lot of outreach, community, just community help. We're going to be going back out to try to get people services. It's been an amazing week, when I tell you we were working at ground zero, we were actually out there where people have pitched tents and they're literally sleeping outside. So if anybody want to connect with Keep VA Warm, you can reach me on social media. I am a Norfolk native, member of the Norfolk City Council Commission on Long-Term Care and Aging. So we're really trying to bring some awareness to our problem here in Norfolk. So it's been an amazing week for me.
All right. Okay.
Great.
I have over the weekend. You guys heard of the Cricket system?
Oh yes.
I bought that over the weekend. So I've ordered some T-shirts.
Wait. Walter, I need you to get on the chat. Okay, go ahead.
So really quickly, just rundown. When I think cricket, I think of Cricket Wireless.
Cricket Wireless.
Okay, yeah. So I'm just like
Cricket. It is a system where you can make all types of crafts, like T-shirts. You can do mugs. You can do practically anything, like welcome mats and everything. So I found out, during the COVID system that I'm really artistic in certain ways. So I'm going to do some motivational T-shirts for my coaching business and mugs. I'm going to do some mugs and all that kind of stuff and T-shirts. So I'm excited. I got like this big shipment in on Sunday and Monday. So I'm excited to set it up. I'm going to set it up right after the show tonight.
Don't forget to make us one.
Yeah, definitely.
My Christmas gift, and it was either that or Glowforge, and I got neither. And so I was like, okay, so I guess I just have to keep on asking. Oh, he's on. Okay, so guess what Will got himself? Guess what Will got himself?
What's that?
No, my husband's on here.
Yeah.
He got himself a Cricket.
That's what I needed. Yeah. Okay. What about Shanika and Amir? Anything happen? I know, Amir, you're always busy. You have that new baby. So I know.
Yeah, that's what's been going on with me. Just taking care of the baby. She's starting to roll over. Okay, now I gotta really watch her 24/7. My whole family wants photos every day. I see my sister in the chat there, my mom, but I'm gonna work on sending more photos. Other than that, script writing and stuff, I'm just networking slowly, just doing what I can to get into the TV and film industry on my own. So we'll see where that takes me in the future.
That's good.
Great.
You?
And nothing. Actually, well, okay, let me not say nothing. I decided I was going to work my lash business on that. And then, of course, Mary Kay. And then we sent Asia back to school. So, like a part of me was just sad. So, not like when she has to go. But she had to go. And so, it was just really quiet just to hear nothing. And I'm like, okay, I need to do something. But I am starting a new venture that I'll have to share later once it's all up and going. So, and I'm excited. We're really excited about it.
That's good. All right. So who's going to start this? Like you said, we have a whole bunch of topics and some good ones.
A lot.
Yes, we do.
All right.
Well, don't forget, everybody, like and share. I am paying attention. I'm just making sure that I'm sharing and I'm reading some things. So everybody, don't forget, like and share.
Yes.
Thanks for the reminder there.
I'll start.
Let's go ahead and get started with the story that's out of New York with a young lady, 31-year-old young lady who went into the liquor store, and as she was going into the store, it's about 4 guys, I guess, standing outside of the liquor store. And this story is out of New York. All right, and she was going inside, and as she was going inside, there were about 4 guys standing outside the liquor store. And when she went in, they kind of went in behind her. One of the gentlemen asked her, and that's being nice because he was not by any means a gentleman, asked her if he could purchase her beverage for her. And I think she had a bottle of wine or whatever. And she was like, no, thank you. And so he she said that he said, so you must think you're better than us. And, you know, I guess they had a little back and forth or whatever. And then she makes her purchase and she goes out. And as she's going out, they are like surrounding her a little bit and still having this conversation with her. And so she's talking back with them and all this and all that. And so they proceed to hit her. And they start hitting her and kicking her and chasing her. And then somebody else is like off to the side, like run, because, you know, like run, you need to run. So as she was running, they caught her and one of the guys bit her in the face. And he bit her above her eye. And she said that he was trying to bite her eye out. And then they were like kicking her and stomping her and things like that. But anyway, my question is to everyone. Like what's the breakdown? What's really happening? Like what's really going on? Like, first of all, like I said, it was a young lady who was out there and she was like, run, because he's already did someone like that, right? And I'm thinking to myself, okay, so they haven't found them as of yesterday. They hadn't found who they are. And I'm thinking somebody, because I mean they have a clear picture of them. They have the jacket, the clothes, everything that they had on. How can people just sit around knowing that these people are out here? Somebody knows who they are. Right. I don't understand how it is that we can know that somebody is amongst us, but we don't tell. Like, I'm bothered.
Fear.
Fear. Retaliation. That's the no snitch policy.
Okay, so you know what?
That's what they go by.
That's what they say. Snitches get stitches. But I feel like if you could do it to that person, you have no problems and no qualms about doing it to me and to anybody that I know.
Yeah, it takes a strong person to get to that point to basically step outside of that no snitch policy. Right. You're not guaranteed that the police are going to protect you or they're going to, hide your anonymity. You have to really, really, really be a person who is bold, and maybe perhaps it happened to a loved one or a friend that you just, you don't care. You're willing to do what's right. But very few people, especially in our community, are going to violate that no snitch policy.
Right. That's a problem for me. And then my other thought was, not my other thought, but my other concern was, I went blank. But go ahead. Okay, go ahead.
Well, yeah, what I was gonna say was that it's a psychological effect. I can't remember the title off the top of my head at this moment, but it's that idea that somebody else is gonna help. Not me. When so many people are around, they say like people will not help because they're like, well, I'm sure somebody's gonna do something. Like nobody wants to be that person because they don't want to get involved anymore. Back when everyone did know each other in town, it's a little different. Like, you know these people, but when you don't know everybody that you live next to, I mean, I don't even know my neighbors that well. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like, well, I'm sure somebody's gonna help them, right? And I mean, I'd like to think that I'm above that, but I'm not sure. I mean, luckily, I haven't been faced with watching someone get assaulted in front of me while I'm trying to buy, chips at the gas station. You know what I mean? Like, I couldn't even imagine what would go through my mind at that moment.
Yeah. Now, so the actual question is, guys, so everybody, the actual question is, what is the disconnect between Black women and Black men? And what I was going to say is, once they offer an award, doesn't it become anonymous? Like, you could call in anonymously and say, like, okay, I know who this is X, Y, and Z, whatever. And that's where I'm at with it. If you could call in anonymous and you know who it is, then I feel like you should. But anyway, and as of yesterday, the community rallied together and kind of did a march outside of the liquor store, and basically was like, her family and everybody like, this, we need to protect our women. This shouldn't happen. And the guys who did this does not live over here and they cannot come back over here. So basically that's what that was. But it just, and it's a disconnect for me too, because I feel like, why is it that people aren't able to accept rejection? Like, why, what's the problem?
Especially embarrassment in front of your boys. And that's that man thing, that male ego.
But is it men or women? Are women the same? Are we?
Some ignorant women. Mm-hmm.
I can't. I mean, because because men are like supposed to pursue, I do wonder if women, I mean, how would a woman feel, you know, especially knowing that men are supposed to be easy in these situations? You approach a man at the bar, you're feeling yourself, you got your new red bottoms on, and then the guy just looks at you, it's like, I'm sorry, I have a girlfriend. Walks away, turns away, doesn't even look at you. Does that make the girl embarrassed? Is she just, I don't know why men get so caught up in those feelings of rejection.
Yeah.
Sometimes, go ahead.
I don't think it embarrasses a woman who is sure and secure. I have been attacked verbally after declining advances.
Mm-hmm.
I just said, you didn't feel that way 5 minutes ago.
In no way do I think that the victim should be blamed, but just listening to you describe the situation, I'm trying to figure out his reaction to the comment that she said, which you said, she said, no, thank you. And then he said, you think you're better than me. So I'm wondering how was the no, thank you? Was it
Right.
was it a hair toss and looking around, no, thank you? Or
it wasn't a side eye.
It still does not give him authority to attack her or, you know, take her L and hit it. That's what she should. But I'm wondering how it was presented that set whatever his psychological issue is off.
Right. I don't know, but it's funny that you even say that, because it was a guy, when I was going through reading through the comments, it was a guy that was in the comments and he was like, well, women need to learn. He was like, women need to learn to keep their mouths closed.
Wow.
Yes, that's what he said. And in the comments, they ate his ass up because they were like, women need to learn to keep their mouths closed. Like, what the hell? Like, no, like, you know.
That's wild.
And
that was just ignorant, because if she had done that, that would have been another ego blow. Like, I'm not even good enough for you to open your mouth.
Mm.
Right. Like, while you're talking to me, I don't even get a response. So, wow.
That's definitely a lose-lose situation. I mean, if somebody offered to buy me a drink, I mean, just at the store, you know, like, I don't know, like, you know, no, thank you, thanks. I'm not expecting them to start trying to beat my ass. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
I'm like, what? I mean, I said, no, that saves you some money, right? Goodness.
Yeah,
so I'm sure it was like a commotion, right? It was loud. People were
because people were outside and they were telling her to run and all this kind of stuff. I mean, she had to get stitches because it was right above her eye, and he was trying to bite her eye out. And I mean, but it was just sad, you know. And then it's just the thing that, you know, people need to learn that no is no, and it's no reason for you to get offended, because there's a lot of people out here who will say yes, and there's a lot of people out here who allow you to buy them a beverage. There are, you know, there's women out here, but some people are just you know, this young lady was getting off work, she needed wine, got wine, but this is what I do want to say. Had me, like, because I've been in situations where I've pulled up somewhere and I'm looking around and I'm the only one, it might be a group of people saying, I don't get out, like, I'm going somewhere else.
Mm.
So, you know, because that type of stuff already makes me nervous. Like, I'm not going to do it. If I just see a group of people just kind of like hanging out, I'm just not, you know. But either way, she should have never been attacked. It should have never happened like that. Yeah. And, you know.
But you know what, I was watching, this is way back when Oprah was like Oprah with the big hair. She had made a point, there was a person up there that was talking about like self-defense. That when something is happening like that, when you yell help, people normally run away because they don't want to get involved. So I'm not sure if she was yelling that. She said the thing which always stuck with me, the thing to yell is fire, because people run to fire. So you yell fire and that draws people to it. I've always remembered that. And if it ever happens, I'm yelling fire. Because help will make people run away. They don't want to get involved.
And then black people are running other black people who may be headed that way and will run the other way.
That'll be me.
Yeah, I don't know why they run it, but I'm not trying to find out. It's frustrating to know that people were warning her about that guy, though, because, you know, at some point you got to go, well, everyone's telling me he's gonna kill me or hurt me. What should I be doing now? And I wish that they had helped that lady, and it's frustrating. I wouldn't, like, nothing we could do could take that back.
Right.
No,
we live in a time now where witnesses are killed. I mean, I don't. That's the whole thing. You know, you're not safe taking up for people anymore.
That's what people. I'm sure that's what went people through their minds, especially like you were saying, Shanika, with that hotline. Police department's so corrupt. You know, they could be in on things, and your name could get leaked, and people think about all that stuff.
Yeah. It's very sad. I mean, it's just really sad. But when we just need to, I mean, not that you necessarily have to get involved, but I mean, even if you just sit in your car and call somebody, like you don't necessarily have to. But I mean, I just don't. What I always think about is if that was my daughter, would I want somebody to help her? Like I would want somebody to help her. You know, I really would want somebody to help her. So when I see, you know, I mean, you know, I've encountered a couple of situations where I've seen a guy like slinging a girl around, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you know, and I'm like, do you need some help, child? Because, you know. But, yeah.
And you guys, Dorothy brought up in the chat a good point. She said if she had said yes, we would have expected more. So even by just entertaining this conversation on the minimal level, she's right. Dorothy is right about that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so you know, just be helpful if you can. I mean, don't just try not to. I mean, I don't know. That's my take. Just be helpful if you can. Just be helpful.
I agree with that.
Who's next?
All right.
Thanks for your comment, Dorothy. That was great.
Okay, so I have a letter, right? Wants our advice on what to do.
Oh.
Okay, so I'm single and I'm on dating apps. While swiping through Tinder, I saw my friend's husband. I know without a doubt it was him. He and my friend met on Tinder 3 years ago and got married shortly after. So I think he would have deleted his profile by now. I was in shock when I saw it, and my first reaction was to share it with my friend. I accidentally swiped left on him because of my panic before I got a chance to share it or screenshot it. They are not in an open relationship. I am torn about what to do now. Do I let my friend know what I saw having no proof, or just keep my mouth shut while she may be living with an unfaithful spouse? I see this friend maybe once a month, but she and I were best friends in high school, and I care for her deeply. I have never had a bad interaction with her husband, but now I'm suspicious of his character. I want to hope he just never got around to deleting his profile, but 3 years is a long time for it to still exist. What should I do?
Well, it doesn't seem like they're too close of friends at this point. Maybe someone she knows is, because if I'm not mistaken, the letter says that they were real close in high school, but she see her from time to time now.
Yeah, basically, I think she said they see her about maybe once a month.
I don't know. I mean, it's just too many unknowns for me to say something to her about it.
What do y'all think in the comments? What do y'all think?
Yeah, that's what I want to see. I mean, for me, I'm just thinking like, number one, you know, if she swiped left, go. I mean, you know, this is your friend. Investigate, you know, create a new account, you know, search the radius. Because I think once you swipe left, you can't find them again. You know, I haven't been on Tinder in years, so I don't even remember. But if you really need to find them, you know, creating a new account, swipe in the same area radius, and pop up again if he hasn't deleted it. Honestly, some people may just forget, you know. I mean, there's people out there happily married, no problems at all, and they still got their exes up from every year they were in a different relationship on Facebook. You know, like, oh yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I agree with I think this for Londa, it's not really enough information to go on. I would probably do what Amir said and kind of try to get some more information on my own without saying something. I don't know about Tinder, but can you see in somebody's profile like the last time they logged in or the last time they were active? Does anybody know about Tinder?
I don't remember. I've been on Tinder, but
none of that. But
well, let me ask you this. So I guess because you know they don't talk that much. Suppose you saw Justin somewhere, or you saw his profile. Would you tell me, or would you stay out of it? I don't like the fact that you're quiet this long.
I would probably in this situation I probably would ask Justin.
Did you forget to take this down?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Because I think
I'll
there's
be like, yo, Jay, yeah, now look, a single sister was on such and such and such, and I just know it just couldn't be. Yeah, I would probably do that. I think it depends on the relationship.
I wouldn't tell you. I would not go to you. I would not go to you because I feel like I would not go to my friend. I would go to him, and it still may be a sticky situation. It still may even with you going to him, because it could easily turn on you and be like, oh, your friend was trying to talk to me or whatever, just so that he can, whatever. It could turn bad fast. So then it would put her in a position where she couldn't even tell, even if it was up there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, your husband got a Tinder any damn way, but
right. The worst case scenario, they already know. Oh yeah, I know he got a Tinder.
I met him up there.
Stay out of my business.
We both have one.
For me, yeah, exactly. And for me, another thing that could happen is catfishing. So I don't know about all y'all. I'm not saying that I take the best photos ever, but my photo has been used to catfish other people. And it's just this hard feeling like somebody took my photo off Facebook or Instagram and made a dating account. And I had friends report to me and say like, okay, I thought you were in a relation. Okay, I'm just checking. Like, I was like, that guy looked familiar, but they didn't use the same name, but something to think about.
And I also have heard of people going, like people up there, because they're looking for a third partner. So his picture could be up there because they're looking for a third part. It could be on that type of situations, like me and my girl, like, whatever we're looking for. But she swiped before she read the profile. She just saw his picture. So she doesn't really know what it was up there for, because it could have been that they were looking for somebody. So
that's true. Yeah. They do that.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I say you just got to get to know the people. And I think the fact that she's asking us is enough for me to say she knows this person well enough that she's like, I should probably say something. You know what I mean? Like, I have friends where I'm all like, they've been through a lot. I don't think I should bring this up. But then I have friends where I'm like, definitely.
Right. Yeah, like I said, it depends on the relationship.
The worst thing that happened would be for you to say something and then they argue and get back together and then you the bad guy.
Right. And that's always a thing. And then because the other thing is people, and this is the thing that gets me, because this happened to me. And when I tell you I was red hot, like I wanted to slap the shit out of the person. I really did. I told the person, like, your husband was, and then instead of her, I was told that she said exactly who it was, what was told to her and all that. And I'm like, you messed up the whole game. So you would never have to ever in your whole entire life worry about me having to tell you nothing. You were not supposed to do that. You were supposed to take my information, investigate what I said to you, and then you do what you got to do. But you ain't never supposed to tell who told you, because you shut that all the way down. No.
Right.
No.
Right. You're never supposed to tell who told you. You go to them like you found out on your own if you have to.
Right. And my thing is, the person was in an open place. So with that person being in an open place, like anybody could have saw that person. So you didn't, it didn't have to be that, it was me that you had to say said it, whatever.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a sticky situation, but I don't necessarily think that I would go to my friend initially. And if she has some type of relationship or knows of the husband, I would just try to, reach out to him or like something, like slide it in.
Yeah, that's what I said, because I would want to protect as many people as I could. So like in a situation you brought up, Will, if it were Justin, I wouldn't come to you, because we can protect you in this if it's not what it appears to be.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well,
that'd probably be best. It would be best.
Are you gonna tell? If you saw Walter out somewhere, are you going to? And would you tell me? Or would you try to figure out what's gonna happen? Like what's going on?
I would make sure that Walter saw me and I would feed off of that as what to do.
Okay.
I would feed off of that. I would make sure he would definitely know that I saw him, and I would pick up whatever energies, if he's if he looks nervous, if he like, oh shit, or or hey,
yeah,
and I'll feed off that.
That's
Walter's
true.
not watching this. He's not watching.
So I have a funny story real quick before we move on. I know somebody who is married to a twin, and the twin was out on a date, and everyone thought it was this person's husband. Yeah, so they ran up on him though. So I mean, I think it's different than Tinder because they caught him in public at the mall, holding hands, booed up, and it's all like, "What are you doing?" Oh, you're not the person's husband, you're the twin. Okay. They were very embarrassed, but could be.
So that brings up a good point though. The friend matters too, because you have some ride or die friends. Right. So friends is going to just pounce as soon as they see something. So that must have been that kind of friend. Oh no, not my friend. You're not out here cheating on my friend.
I'm an investigator. I'm the investigator. Like I don't see me right away. I don't want you to see me right away. I need to just sit back in the cut, and I need to just see what's popping first. I need to see what's popping.
I'm going up to them and say hello.
And then if I see like y'all getting a little chummy, then I'm gonna come over there and be like, "Hey, how you doing?" Where's someone so like but I just need to see. I need to see first.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Who's next?
Yeah.
So do y'all want to talk about that Parlor app and how it's threatening our free speech to get rid of it? What do you all think about that? I mean, do you think that it's a social media private company's responsibility to protect our free speech, or is it strictly for the government to do? If you're unfamiliar with Parlor, that's the app that a lot of the conservatives and some other people were using to communicate during the Capitol riots.
Yeah, a lot of Trump supporters were using that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I know because Google and Apple, they took them off their Play Store.
That's right.
And I like Facebook. How they were doing the censoring for Facebook and Twitter, and that's what led people to go to the Parler app in the first place. But I think what happened at the Capitol was horrible, and I think if it was incited by the conversations that were unmonitored or unchecked on the Parler app, it needs to be censored. Yeah. So I think there is freedom of speech. I think everybody deserves freedom of speech. That's one of our rights. But when it comes to the safety of the society in a whole, large population like at the Capitol, that type situation, yeah, if they can't put in type of policy to monitor the conversations, because I heard that they had rules, but they just weren't enforced. Mm-hmm. They weren't enforcing the rules.
Right.
They need to enforce it. If they can't do that, then take out the App Store like they did.
I agree 100%. It is our constitutional right and for the government to protect that. However, these huge organizations, these companies, I think they have a responsibility if is going to be used as a platform to put rules, practices, protocols, policies, whatever you want to call it, in place to protect society and protect from their product being used for those purposes. Because I'm sure that wasn't the intent.
Well, I think that was shut down, and a lot of things are being shut down. Even once it came down to shutting down Trump's Twitter and Facebook page and things like that, I think at that point they realized that things had to start. They had to start putting a ban on things because it was getting out of control, and it was. I mean, and once you make the decision to shut down the president, you really almost have no other choice but to make it a trickle down effect of shutting down. Anything that is inciting riots or inciting, bodily harm done to people, deaths, things like that. So, I think that they really had no other choice. I think to allow it to keep going on, they would be doing themselves a disservice. And, and again, like everybody's already said, yes, we do have the freedom of speech, but at this point, it has to start being regulated and monitored because it's too much. It's too much going on, and for the nation to get back on a calm in a calm space, in a calm realm, and trying to get some camaraderie, if you will. You're gonna have to shut down all things that incite
right.
Disorder. Yes. What do you think, Amir?
I mean, for me, I think free speech isn't as free as people think it is. Unfortunately, exactly. I mean, obviously, land of the free. We were all indoctrinated of it. We were born here and raised in the public school system, private school. I'm sure too, that we have the freedom to do all these things. I remember kids would say, "I could say whatever I want, freedom of speech," and it's like, well, the government's not going to stop me from punching you in the face. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, right. You got freedom of speech. Yes, you can say what you want, but there's nothing to stop that. You also have to face the consequences of what you say. If you're threatening the president's life, the president, like the government, is going to enforce the law on you. It's it doesn't matter if you are free to technically say it. You're also free to be punished. Right. And I think that's something people kind of take for granted. Like they like that first part. Oh, I can say whatever I want, but they don't think about the fact that those consequences. You're not protected from consequences because you can say whatever you want. And I think that's important, especially with the government is involved. At the end of the day, the government did not pass a law saying that Amazon and Google had to get rid of Parlor. Those are private companies that said they breached our contract. And now Parlor had to sue. I mean, that's the American way, right? You don't like something, you sue them. Not saying it's right, but if you have the money, that's what you do.
Well, that's true.
Thanks. I was about to say something else in reference to that. And people have to, and I mean, just look at how many times people have said things, and then it's like somebody has caught them saying it, and then next thing you know, they're on national TV. I really want to apologize for what I said. I didn't mean to say X, Y, and Z. Like, yeah, you thought you was gonna be able to stand on somewhere and be like the lady, the one lady, I forgot who we were talking about, and then she said the N-word, the commentator, the newscast person or whatever, and then she came in and she was like, well, I didn't mean to say that. It was just, and everybody was like, stop it.
I remember that.
Yeah.
It was a Freudian slip.
You realize that doesn't sound better, right?
Right, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So you meant to say it, but you didn't want to say it. Got it.
Right.
It's people. That's what I'm saying. It's like, and then it doesn't even. That's where my issue with apologies. I don't like apologies because I just feel like if you thought that shit all the way through, then there's no way that you would be able to make an apology. If you thought you were gonna have to give an apology, like if you thought that shit all the way through, then you wouldn't have said it because you wasn't gonna have to issue a damn.
That's right.
Yeah, and that reminds me of back when Obama was still president, and everyone just kept talking about politically correct, and I can't say whatever I want. And back in my day, and I'm not saying, I know I'm not that old, but I was like, so back in your day, you could just say whatever you wanted to people, and nothing happened to you. It's like, wow, that's crazy. I can't imagine living in a world like that. Like you just said whatever you wanted and nothing bad ever happened. I'm like, that doesn't sound real to me. That sounds fake. I don't know what world you've been living in.
The world of privilege.
Right.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
The world of privilege.
I mean, people will say things as if nothing has happened before, but okay, Godfather, everyone loves the movie. So you just gonna say anything to the Corleones?
Absolutely not.
On his birthday, you're gonna insult him? No. So
absolutely not.
No. So I just think that people kind of take liberty with that, and they're entitled to say what they feel like they should be able to say whatever they want.
Exactly. All right, Chanel, you're last.
Okay, well, I need everybody that's watching to chime in on this one because have you heard of Kevin Samuels? Well, he is basically a image consultant, an influencer based out of Atlanta, Georgia. And right now he is blowing up Instagram and social media waves because of his advice, or if you will, to women of color. So pretty much he said a couple things that have really infuriated us some Black women, and one of them was, if you are above the age of 27, then you are in the danger zone of potentially being single for the rest of your life. He has these image consults that cost $1,000 per hour, where he gives you career advice, image advice, and analyzes your appearance. And most of his clients, of course, are women.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to know what people think about that. Do you feel like women, if you haven't gotten married, and we do have, people out there that want to chime in, I'm sure you do, but do you feel like if a woman isn't married by the age of 27, that she's in danger of being single forever?
Hell no.
No.
Hell no.
He's hilarious. I don't see how anybody can.
First of all, how are you gonna
ever know you like women?
I thought he was gay. I'm not even gonna lie. I thought he was gay, and I just couldn't.
Yeah.
I just couldn't understand how people were like women. I mean, because he insulted one girl so bad up there. Like, I don't even know how she stayed on the line. Because I would have been like, he would have got so many. I would have dropped so many he called her. He was like, "Honey, I'm telling you, you're not listening to me. You're not listening. You're not pretty." Like he was telling her. He was like, "You're not that pretty. Guys are looking for other type of women. They're not looking for women like you who have."
Oh my God, yeah.
He is.
I did a guy recently too, where he was telling the guy. I guess the guy was overweight. He was telling him that if he wasn't well endowed, he didn't have if he didn't have a big one of those, if he didn't have a big bank account. I was like,
I heard that one.
Yeah. He asked the guy 3 times.
Yeah.
I said,
the guy was like, he said,
can I see it? Let me measure it.
And not even in a nice way, in a very vulgar way. He asked him 3 times, "Do you have a big?
My goodness.
Do you?"
Well, isn't that subjective? I mean, that's subjective. So I mean, he may not get a straight answer anyway. But what about
subjective?
What about him saying that a woman who, as soon as she becomes a single parent, her value plummets?
Oh wow.
He was, and I saw that because he was basically saying that no man who's making 6 figures would want to be with a woman who has a baby daddy. That's what he said, a baby daddy, and has a almost grown child. That's what he was saying. And she was like, but he was like, there is no but. There is no but. And you know what? That's on some bullshit. I'm
yeah, all these people who got married have children.
Because I know women out here who have 3 and 4 and 5 kids and be pulling men like it ain't nobody's business. So no.
They're blowing up in the comments, you guys. They're going in on Mr. Samuels.
Yeah, I mean, I just think anytime someone says that a woman's value is threatened based on whatever actions they're taking in the dating world, it's just weird. I mean, I get it back in the day when you were only allowed to be married based on an agreement between 2 men who said, yeah, my daughter is going to marry your son. Okay, fine. I mean, whatever, but it's not like that anymore. It's different now.
I would like to hear from a man because I don't know. I think I am a single parent. Mm-hmm. I'm a single parent, but I don't consider myself a low value when it comes to dating based on my background. But I mean, would a man who, let's say, does not have any children, who, let's say, he does make at least 6 figures, is that a responsibility that if he had to choose between someone who didn't already have children and that single mother, what would that person choose? Or, if you will, that high value man, as they say, what would he choose? And let me be clear. He said that it doesn't mean that a single mother can't marry somebody who is a good man, but what they describe as a high value man, he's saying that man won't want to be with that person. He would choose somebody else.
Now, what I will say about subjectiveness, now I know the size isn't subjective, but the money, to me, the fact that he's placing that as 6 figures, that's such a strange, like, oh yeah, they must be high value men because they make 6 figures. Like, that's it.
And I've seen different. I've seen people that make 6 figures that were not high value men.
Right. What if they have other problems where they waste that money on other vices? So I mean, so first you have to say what makes the man valuable, but then second, why is it just that they have a kid? In my opinion, it's as simple as, can you have other children? Because if somebody wants to have children and you can't, and you're not trying to have children, that's a different conversation. But just because you have one kid, that's
okay. Amir, you said one kid. What about multiple?
Well, right. I mean, so I'm just saying, like, if you're saying that you don't want to have a bunch of kids, that I can understand that, but to say the person's value is lower, that's just, you can't prove that. You know what I mean? For you, for your own personal life, you could say this isn't the one for me, but to say that nobody wants you because you have multiple kids, and I could prove it, because how did they get multiple kids in the first place? Shanika, go ahead.
Go ahead, Shanika.
I want to hear this.
I'm sorry, because I mean, that is just the thing. The thing I think really that pisses me off is that there's women and even men, but more so women, that are taking advice from him. Like, there's women who that he is saying these things to that are believing it. It's like, sis, you need to move from talking to his ass to over to all the women out here who's doing women's empowerment and telling you it don't matter if you got 4 or 5 kids.
Yeah.
You pull them like you pull them.
Yeah.
And it don't matter. You dress up and you do what you got to do. But like, I don't understand why the hell you are even allowing him to dictate to you your value. Anyway, you should already know your value. I mean, because that one girl that was up there, like, he tore her ass to shreds. Like, I think by the time she got off of there, like, I felt for her. I felt for her. And every time she had like a rebuttal, he was like, you not listening.
Was that the one? Shanika, was that the one that he was trying to say that she wasn't a 8 or a 9? How she said what that was?
He said, what do you rate yourself as? And
yeah,
she was like, a 5, bitch. I'm sorry, girl.
Uncut.
He done pissed you off, girlfriend.
No, but no, there's a point though. Like,
On my worst day, I'm not gonna be nobody's 5. I don't know. On my worst day, I will not ever be nobody's 5.
But to let him talk to you like that, even if it were true, like, goodness, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, that's wild. And to me, he, as my wife said, is he even in a relationship? And if he is, does that woman see him as a high value man? Is he high value because he gets people to follow him with these controversial statements? Because if he's tearing down men and women, then that means that, so for example, if it were true that a woman loses value with a bunch of having children, then they should be attractive to a low value man, right? And then everyone's happy.
But that's basically what he was saying, that was the only type of guy that she was going to be able to get, because she either already had a baby daddy who was not basically being helpful, and then she almost had a middle, like a 12, 13-year-old son or whatever. So he was saying that, again, no man of value still was going to want to be with her because they didn't want to deal with her baby daddy, and then they didn't want to have to deal with her son. So if all she was ever going to attract were men who were not. So because I asked my husband this, and I was like, listen, because like, would you be with a woman, like, if we weren't together and you came across somebody who had a child, and he was like, Shanika, if I did not have any children, like, one would probably be that would probably be my minimum, and then it would be based on how old that child is, because I just feel like people, and I just feel like if you're not with the person that you had this baby with, and your baby is in months, or like up to maybe like 2 or 3, there's still a possibility that you could still be dealing with that person you had a baby with. You know, you have an older child, like, okay, the likelihood is lessens to me. But you know, but just to say that your value as a person, as a partner, your devalues because you have that is insane.
Yeah, and also to say that you wouldn't get a high value man because of these issues, that's crazy too.
And it's all the matter if you're going to attract what you are.
Right.
You're going to attract what you are. So if you're walking around like you low self-esteem, you're going to attract the person who feels like they could take advantage of you. But if you're conducting yourself in a manner that says you got $5 in your purse, but you're walking like you got 1,000, that's what the hell you like.
And also, you know what all that reminds me of? It's this idea that somehow women who haven't had any sex and haven't had any children are somehow attractive, right? Because then we got to say, if you don't have one kid or multiple kids, then does that mean that you're automatically in a relationship? You're married, right? And I know so many single women who were saving themselves for God, you know, saving themselves for that perfect man that God's going to choose for them. If they're not married, they don't have a kid, they're making fine money, whatever they're doing for their career, and nobody's attracted to them. And it's not because they're ugly. You know what I mean? So what is it? It's you know, I just think he's just speaking out of his ass, really.
Yeah, I don't know where he's getting this information from and what gives him who.
Well, they are listening. They are listening and paying for this advice.
He's entertaining, and I mean, because he started out as image consultant. That's his main thing. So now I guess he's trying. I think these are all gimmicks. I don't really think he believes any of this stuff. I think he's just trying. The hype is around his name right now because he's being an ass. I think it's marketing. So you know, same shit we be doing sometimes.
Let me tell you something. Listen here. Wife, hear that you just said some crazy stuff to somebody. I'll be like, what? I do not believe it. I do not believe it.
I mean, so all I have to do is get a nice blazer, you know, wear a tie, have a pocket square, and then get on.
Right, and
my hairline back a little bit.
Yeah.
The sad thing about it, the unfortunate sad thing about it is women are attracted to the likes of men, even in hair salons. Women want men to do their hair. I mean, like it's this guy that does hair, and I swear to you, if one more person says to me about this guy, I'm going to scream. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so tired of hearing his name. But he is doing it. To sit in his chair is $1,200.
Wow.
To sit in his chair is $1,200. And if I tell you
$1,200, what in the world are he doing on them head? What is he doing?
Like, putting on a lace front. And my thing is, but it's the hype that's built around it. It's the hype that's built around it that allows him to charge us. And I'm not
ranking on experience. You're paying whoever they're paying for the experience, whatever you provide, whether it's visual, whether it's a whole production.
Right.
That's what people are paying for. And it would have been whether he's a girl or it's a girl or a guy. That's marketing. You got to build a hype around it.
It is. It is.
What's the gimmick to it?
Right. But I mean, if one more person, and it's hype built. I mean, it's hype. I mean, hype. The hype that goes with it, because it just all of this, and I'm just like, wow. Okay, I'm like, wow, and you know, but that's what people want. That people want the experience. It's like if I gave you the same thing. It's just like saying if I gave you the same thing, on a lower scale for $50, or let's just say $100, and you could go and get this whole big dramatic, and they're greeting you at the door, and all of this for $1,200, and then you know what I'm saying? It's just like, okay, dang, like, okay, I'm going to because I want to see. And some people have FOMO, fear of missing out. So it's like, I'm just going to one time spend this money just to see what's happening over here. Just this one time, just to see, because everybody is hyping it up. And even though I could go over here and get it for less, but it's like, it's the experience. And people feel like sometimes when you pay less, the quality is not there.
Right. So yeah, I just was thinking, what would Kevin Samuel say to a man who found his woman before he was a high value man? It's like I said, 6 figures. Like I'm like, that's the standard. And it's like, so what if he got a promotion? Now he got 6 figures, but his woman was a low value woman. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's the advice?
Yeah.
Should he just get rid of that woman and find himself a girl that's higher value, whatever that means?
You make a point, Mr. Amir. That's a good point.
It just seems like some kind of fool's gold.
Yeah. Fabian said that he's just taking advantage of the situation, just like Will said. The gimmick, the marketing. Yeah. He's just taking advantage of the single women who see value in his advice and charging people $1,000 for 1 hour to make them feel even worse about themselves.
Yeah.
That's horrible. It's just horrible.
That's marketing. Don't be mad.
I mean, no, you can't even be mad. You can't even be mad. You can't even be mad.
What are you doing?
Because when I start screening people and I'm like, look, nah, it's about $300 to come through this little door right here.
Did we ever talk about like men being intimidated by women? That reminds me of that topic.
Woo! It's almost the end of our hour. We can talk for days about that.
What you got to say, Chanel? Yeah. What you got to say?
Well, I hear it all the time. I have, in my circle, I go through that. A lot of women in my circle go through that. And I just don't understand it. Now I can say, I am tall and I'm big boned. So maybe that has something to do with it. But I don't get it. I've heard it before. What is there to be intimidated by? Are we, the people who hear that, dating down, as I've heard before? What's the deal?
I think it's just a matter in the way in which you carry yourself, because sometimes people don't want a challenge. And when you challenge people, it becomes that you're intimidating. And it's not that you, it has nothing to do with your stature. It may to some people, but I don't think that it has anything to do with your stature. It's the way in which you are carrying yourself, the way in which you probably walk, the way in which you carry your bag, the way the clothes that you wear, things like that. Sometimes those are the things that make people intimidated by you if you come across like your work, because some people don't want to put no work in. And it's like, okay, so you're intimidating because you require work.
That's true. What do you think, Amir? Because you said you were thinking about it.
Yeah.
So did you get a chance to speak to some of your guy friends? Will, what about what's going on in your brain?
I mean, yeah, in my opinion, I definitely think people are weird when it comes to that intimidation. They can't really put their finger on it because they don't want to really kind of, reveal their insecurity. So, I mean, they could say, oh, it's on you, whatever, your behavior. It's because of how you acted, how you treated me. Oh, you're career focused. But all of it's kind of projected onto you, right?
Right.
No matter what you say, I mean, are they intimidated because you're tall? Well, then, are they shorter than you? Is that the problem? Is it their insecurity about being short than a woman? Is it money? Is it, if they're making more money than you, they can still be intimidated by you. So it's all about, in my opinion, what the person is projecting onto you and how they view you versus how you actually are, which leads to that intimidation. That's how I look at it.
And that's a good point you made, versus how you actually are. So some people, and I have one of my colleagues, she's actually an attorney, and she responded to a post that I put up, and she said it wasn't until after she graduated and kind of moved on that people or men were coming back and telling her that that's why they never approached her. And these were people that she would have, responded to.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah.
I don't know.
What were the reasons? You said that they didn't approach her. It was reasons like what?
Well, she didn't get into the specific reasons, but I don't know why they would feel comfortable enough after she graduated and moved on to come back and tell her that. Maybe because they weren't in the same setting anymore, maybe because they were out of college, and it could just be a quick conversation and moved on from. I'm not sure. I mean, people have told me why. Well, that's what they said.
Which were, if you
you're
care.
well, not relative to height, but you're up here, or if I wear a certain thing or whatever, oh, you got that on. I'm not a label whore or anything, but I have things that are brand and things from Walmart. So I mean, I don't know. And I know that someone did tell me it was my height. And I do wear heels and I'm gonna keep wearing them.
Keep doing it. Yeah, I think it's
even though I'm 5'11".
Yeah, I mean, no, it's true. Like I said, it's all about if someone tells you that you're intimidating, it's because they feel it, even if you can't really do nothing about it because they're the ones who are feeling intimidated, Like it doesn't matter if you're taller than them. I mean, what are you going to do? Give them some platform shoes? Like you got to be taller than them regardless.
Well, I think that you can't help the people that are intimidated by you, and the men or women that approach men or women, whatever. They're secure with who they are, and have no problem approaching you because it's either going to be yes, you're going to converse with them, or you're not. And that's just what it is. But I just feel like people who are secure with who they are, they're going to do the approaching, and it doesn't matter what you look like, it doesn't matter your height, it doesn't matter your weight, it doesn't matter whatever. If they are attracted to you, nothing is going to be or stand in their way of getting to you and talking to you. So the people who say things like that, to me, have some insecurities of their own that
I agree.
they're dealing with. So
that gives me one more question. So generally speaking, and we'll chime in on this, do you think that people, whether it's man or woman, do they essentially, Amir, look for mates that they feel are less than them?
No, I would say
not me.
I mean, there's levels to it. I would say like I've approached women that I was intimidated by, but like there's levels to it. Like I said, I mean, if somebody, it can't be that intimidating, like, but what I mean by intimidating for me, it's about like the way they present themselves in terms of how they dress, or like they might, I would think, well, they wouldn't be interested in somebody like me. I would just kind of put that on them. You know what I mean? No proof. But I would still approach because maybe I just had a little bit more confidence in myself than that. I'll be friendly and then see where it goes.
Right.
And some guys just don't have the nerve for that. And my wife could maybe attest to that because she said it herself in the comments that a lot of people said she was intimidating. And I just hit her up like, hey, I haven't seen you in a while. Let's hang out. And then she said, yeah. She could have said no.
But did she ever chime in on why she feel like people were telling her that?
Well, I mean, to me, I would say, I mean, she's not that tall, but she's a little taller. She went to Spelman, so that was already a big name. Then when I was dating her, she was in GW Law School. So a black woman, who's darker skin, that's another thing because colorism has something to do with it. Yep. And she was successful in terms of going to a big name law school. So in my opinion, I could see plenty of guys being like, oh no, she would never want to, or she's not into what I'm into, or she wouldn't really play any, just deal with me. I mean, in my opinion, I don't really know why people would say, because I saw like her as just a regular I saw her as somebody that I could approach and be on the same level with, even though I wasn't doing all of that. I wasn't at law school. So I'm not sure why those men felt that way. And I don't think she really knows either for sure.
And I'm sure that she doesn't look at like somebody like that she was okay, because you said that you weren't doing all those things, but I'm sure that when she looked at you or whatever, she didn't feel like she was dating down because, you know what I'm saying? Because it was this nice guy is approaching me and, you know, let's just see. And, you know, however, you know, y'all dated or whatever the case may be. And then it, you know, y'all grew from there. So I just think that, like, as you know, y'all have said that, you know, people have a tendency to project their insecurities on you. And it's not even something that you think about. And then that's how your insecurities start. Because it's like, oh my gosh, I'm too tall. Oh my gosh, I'm this, or oh my gosh, I'm that. And then, you know, and then you start projecting or having these thoughts about yourself that you didn't at first until somebody, because people keep saying it. So, the thought here is don't allow people to project their insecurities on you. You know,
100%. Yeah.
If you enjoy wearing heels and you're 5'11", wear your heels. And
baby, I'm gonna put them shoes on every day. Every day.
You know, just don't allow people to, you know, even, you know, people. I mean, even in the hair salon, like, you know, I've had people like, oh no, I need hair down on my forehead because somebody done told them their forehead is big. It's like, that's not like, your forehead's not big. Your forehead is average. I don't know who told you that. And, you know, it kind of looks better for, you know, your hair to be a certain way. But people do project their, you know, their insecurities off on you. And then you roll with that, you know, but so again, so don't allow people to do that to you. And if you are comfortable with who you are, and, you know, roll with it. And the person or the people who will approach you are going to, and they're not going to look at your height, they're not going to look at your weight, they're not going to look at your skin color, they're not going to look at your smile, they're not going to look at any of that and be intimidated by any of those things.
And I agree with you 100%. That's wonderful advice. And that's what I tell people because I'm a confidence coach that I talk to, is that own your own stuff, you know?
Right.
You got to make sure you give those affirmations. Don't let people tell you the mirror is lying to you. You know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Stay in confidence. But what we gonna do about these men?
Well, it's a lot going on in every direction. I think men, women, and everybody just kind of needs to get together and just know your worth, know your value. Know that if you're being rejected one way or the other, that you don't have to resort to violence, female or male. You know,
that's right.
Way, you know, if somebody is intimidated by you, you don't have to listen to what it is that they're saying to you. And freedom of speech you do have freedom of speech, but there's consequences to your freedom of speech. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then, Will, back to yours. Do some investigating before you go telling somebody something.
Or just mind your business. I don't think we really came to a consensus on that.
Somebody said mind your business. I say I'm going to the source. I'm gonna protect the innocent party, or the presumed innocent party.
Yeah, so but once again, guys, thank you all so much for tuning in. This was another great conversation with the chats, where conversations are unfiltered, uncut, and unscripted. And if you want us to present a topic or a story, please make sure you send it to us at our email, thechatcw@gmail.com. thechatcw@gmail.com. All right, so that would do it for us. Yes, it was good.
Good night, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. You did a great job. Y'all responded. You liked, you shared. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
See you next week, everybody.
All right, bye.